guess if you're going to come down with a head cold at all, what better place to rest and recover, right? Yeah. So I'm pretty miserable, and I'm doped up on Dayquil at the moment, and just really been taking it easy today and trying to get better, especially before I fly home, because nothing like flying home with a stuffed up head. Ugh. So I promised to tell you the story of how I met the plumber. It was just over 2 years ago. I just put out a random tweet, I'm looking for a plumber, and it was just being funny, really, but Gina Paris, who lives near me actually, tweeted back and said, "I got your plumber." And so this kind of became the running joke between us for a couple of months, and we just had this plumber joke going on or whatever. It wasn't really that big of a deal. But I had dual monitors set up, and one day I was getting ready to do a webinar, and I saw on my other screen across TweetDeck that Gina Paris had tweeted out his phone number. And she didn't tweet it just to me directly, she didn't at me with it, but she kind of took our joke public, and she tweeted his phone number out to like over 20,000 people. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so I had like just a few minutes left. I already had my headset on and was all ready to record this webinar. So I pulled my headset off and I grabbed the phone and I called the number. And I said, "Do you know Gina Paris?" And he said, "I do." And I said, "Do you know Twitter?" And he goes, "I've heard of it." And I said, "Well, I just wanted to call and warn you that Gina has put your phone number on Twitter and sent it out to over 20,000 people. So you might be getting a lot of calls." And really that was kind of the end of the conversation, and we hung up and I did my webinar and moved on with it. The next day I get a phone call and he says, "Wow, after 300 phone calls and 2 very awkward conversations with men, I thought I'd start back at the very top of the list and see if you would like to have dinner." And of course I freaked because I was like, "Ooh, that sounds like a date." So I just immediately responded and said, "You know what, I'll get in touch with Gina and set a time and a place and let her get back with you with the details, and I'll see you there." Anyway, so the 3 of us got together, and it was the week between Christmas and New Year's, almost 2 years ago. The 3 of us got together. Of course, Gina and I were like, "Oh, it's so great to meet you in person finally after all this time." And apparently Gina had been talking me up to the plumber when she saw him, and so I think he was kind of in shock that she'd never actually met me in person, but yet she was recommending me to him. Anyway, Gina and I got on a roll talking business. You know how 2 women can get, so we got on a roll talking business, and poor plumber, he was just along for the ride. But that's how we met. He ended up calling me, and we talked on New Year's Eve, and we had our first date shortly after the New Year, and that was almost 2 years ago. So stay tuned. In the next video, I'll tell you a little bit about the past 2 years and where we are now.